Alright guys, we've got the December 7th football slate. Make sure you watch the full video, because I've got a 4-bet parlay at the end. Yes, I flexed it. If you like it and want to copy it, check the description. Seattle Seahawks versus Atlanta Falcons. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Seattle Seahawks -7. Atlanta has just one win since week 7, and the quarterback situation has really dragged the offense down. With Michael Penix Jr. out for the season, Kirk Cousins is under center, but he's taken a beating lately and has already been sacked 5 times over the last 2 games. Seattle brings one of the fiercest 4-man rushes in the league, ranking near the top in pressure rate and pass rush win rate while blitzing under 20% of the time. Now for the player prop, Bijan Robinson, over 4.5 receptions. With Seattle's front generating constant pressure without extra blitzers, the checkdown and quick release game becomes crucial for Atlanta. Bijan profiles as that safety valve, and we've already seen it recently. He caught 5 passes against the Jets last week. In a game where the Falcons are likely playing from behind and Cousins needs underneath options against this pass rush, Robinson's reception volume sets up well for this 4.5 line. Cincinnati Bengals versus Buffalo Bills. For this matchup, I'm going over 52.5 total points. The game environment points towards scoring, with Cincinnati allowing consistent success through the air and struggling to stop explosive plays and red zone drives. Buffalo's offense is positioned to take advantage of those weaknesses, and with the total set at 52.5, this lines up as a high-scoring matchup from start to finish. Now for the player prop, Josh Allen, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Projections for Allen sit between 1.8 and 2.1 passing touchdowns, and against a defense allowing consistent red zone and explosive passing success, this line stays very reachable in a game environment built for scoring. Titans versus Browns. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland's defense is the clear difference in this game. They rank among the league's best at limiting passing yards, and that sets up well against a Tennessee offense that has struggled to move the ball consistently. Playing at home only strengthens the Browns' advantage. Player prop Cam Ward under 178.5 passing yards. It's been a difficult rookie season for Ward, and he's gone under this number in 2 of his last 4 games, including just 141 passing yards last week. Against the Browns defense that ranks near the top in fewest passing yards allowed, this under stays firmly in play. Commanders versus Vikings. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota is at home and brings consistent pressure on defense, which gives them the edge in controlling the flow of this matchup. With Washington still working through offensive inconsistency, the Vikings are in the stronger position to come out with the win. Player prop Jaden Daniels over 38.5 rushing yards. Daniels averages 43.7 rushing yards per game, and Minnesota ranks near the bottom of the league defending quarterback scrambles despite their high pressure rate. With the number deflated due to his return from injury, this rushing line stays very reachable in this matchup. Dolphins versus Jets. For this matchup, I'm going with under 40.5 total points. Miami is averaging 20.6 points per game, with the Jets right behind at 20.5. The Dolphins have hit the under in 2 straight games, and neither team has scored more than 27 points in their last 4. With both offenses leaning on the run and limiting explosive passing plays, this sets up as another low-scoring divisional matchup. Player prop, I'm looking at Darren Waller. Over 2.5 receptions, Waller showed immediate involvement in his return, leading the team in receiving yards. He's cleared this line in multiple recent appearances, including against the Jets earlier this season. In a game script built around short throws and clock management, his role fits steady volume again. Saints versus Buccaneers. For this matchup, I'm siding with Buccaneers -8.5. Tampa Bay has a clear advantage on both sides of the ball, especially at home. The Saints are averaging just 15.2 points per game and have already lost by double digits 6 times this season. With New Orleans starting a rookie quarterback and struggling to protect the passer, Tampa Bay is in a strong position to control this game and pull away. Player prop Baker Mayfield, over 216.5 passing yards. Mayfield has been far more productive at Raymond James Stadium, averaging 249 passing yards per game at home. This is also his lowest passing yard line since early last season, and the Saints rank near the bottom in pass rush and pass efficiency allowed. With time in the pocket against a weak New Orleans pass defense, this number remains very reachable. Steelers versus Ravens. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Baltimore Ravens -5.5. Baltimore comes in with a strong home spot and plenty on the line, with first place in the AFC North up for grabs. Before last week's loss, the Ravens had won 5 straight by an average of nearly 13 points and were top 12 inches both offensive and defensive DVOA. On the other side, Pittsburgh has dropped 5 of its last 7 games and has struggled badly on the road, covering just once in its past 8 away games. Player prop Lamar Jackson over 25.5 rushing yards. This is one of the lowest rushing totals Jackson has seen since the start of last season. Even with a lighter workload recently, he's cleared this number in 2 of his last 4 games and is still averaging over 6 carries per game since returning in Week 9. With Pittsburgh blitzing at a high rate, that sets up well for Jackson to scramble and pick up yards on the ground. Broncos versus Raiders. For this matchup, I'm backing the Denver Broncos -7.5. Las Vegas continues to struggle offensively, losing 6 straight games and failing to establish consistent rushing production. That imbalance has made their offense predictable and easier to defend. Denver, meanwhile, has been steady and disciplined, and against a Raiders team that's chasing games and leaning heavily on short area looks, the Broncos are in a strong position to control tempo and separate on the scoreboard. Player prop Ashton Jeanty over 4.5 receptions. Jeanty's receiving role has grown significantly, clearing this line in 4 of his last 5 games. He's posted 6, 8, and 6 catches over his last 3 outings, and with Vegas chasing games and struggling to move the ball on the ground, his usage as a receiver remains elevated again in this spot. Bears versus Packers. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Chicago Bears +6.5. Chicago has been one of the most reliable teams against the spread, going 8-2 ATS over their last 10 games, and they just proved they belong by knocking off Philadelphia on the road. Their offense is operating efficiently, ranking 9th in EPA per play, while the defense leads the league in takeaways. In a cold weather divisional matchup, getting more than a touchdown with the hotter team holds value. Player prop DeAndre Swift, over 50, 1.5 rushing yards. Swift has cleared 80 rushing yards in 5 of his last 7 games, and with Chicago's backfield dealing with injuries, he's in line for steady volume. In freezing conditions that could limit passing efficiency, the Bears leaning on the run makes this rushing number very obtainable again. Rams versus Cardinals. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are coming off a rough outing but remain one of the stronger pass rushing units in the league, ranking top half in sacks and pressures despite rarely blitzing. Arizona has struggled to protect the quarterback all season, allowing a high sack rate regardless of who's under center, which sets up a favorable matchup for Los Angeles up front. Player prop Jared Verse, over 0.5 sacks. Verse is coming off a 2-sack performance in Week 12 and now has multiple games this season where he's generated strong pressure. With Arizona allowing frequent sacks and the Rams able to get home without blitzing, asking Verse to record 1 sack in this matchup is very reasonable given the recent production and matchup profile. Houston Texans versus Kansas City Chiefs. For this matchup, I'm rolling with Houston +3.5. This projects as a tight field goal type game. Houston's defense has already shown it can limit Kansas City, including in last season's playoff matchup, and the Chiefs continue to struggle creating explosive offense and finishing drives. With both teams fighting to stay in the playoff picture, taking the points gives Houston room in what should be a close physical contest. Now for the player prop CJ Stroud, over 12.5 rushing yards. Kansas City brings constant pressure, and that has repeatedly forced quarterbacks to scramble. Stroud logged 42 rushing yards in last year's playoff meeting and has consistently cleared this number when facing aggressive pass rushes. With Kansas City blitzing at one of the highest rates in the league, this rushing total stays very reachable again. Alright guys, here's the 4-bet parlay. If you enjoyed the breakdown, make sure you subscribe, give this video a like, and drop a comment letting me know which picks you're taking for today's football games. I'll see you in the next one.